Hi everyone, it's Jim again. It's year 2022, January the 14th. It's -8 outside. It's pretty cold. Here is warm. Yeah, that's why I wear like this. And today's topic, let's introduce my Lucky first. Yeah, Lucky boy. All right, so he's with me all the time. All right, so before we get into the topic, today's topic is how did I get my truck driver's license back to China about 40 years ago. Yeah, to become a truck driver, you need about, if you can drive alone, in China, you need about 1 year training, include you get your driver's license. Yeah, before we get into the topic, and then I want to spend a few minutes to talk about why do I use my broken English to do this video? Yeah, so yeah, as you know, my English is not that fluently, and since even I use English to teach driving and teach Tai Chi for like more than 20 years. So my mother tongue is Cantonese, and then I can speak Mandarin fluently, and because my wife, she speaks Mandarin. So I can use one of the three languages to do my teaching. And definitely the time I live in Canada is much longer than the time I live in China. When I came to Canada, it's about 28 years ago. 28 years old. All right, so I live in Canada more than 30 years, and definitely I should speak better English. Of course, that's no doubt about it. If I go to school, I do the, well educated, I will have a better English. But unfortunately, I didn't choose to go to school, and then I just learned English by myself. Okay, so since I can, use English to express what I want to say, and then hopefully I can use a simple English to let people understand what I'm trying to say. And then, of course, I will use English to do the video. The reason is very simple, because if I speak in Cantonese, for example, and then those people, they speak Mandarin, they don't understand what I'm talking about. And if I speak Mandarin and those Cantonese speaking people, they have trouble to understand. On the other hand, and the population here, it's more than 80%, it's English speaking people. All right, so this video is not only for Chinese people. For those people, they want to know me, or even outside Canada. All right, so this why I speak English to do the video. There is one major reason I do it using English is because my two sons, if I say one of the Chinese and they don't understand. They understand briefly, and then something deep, they don't understand. They use Chinese only for daily eating and very simple Chinese. Anything beyond that, they don't understand. All right, so don't mention the next generation. That means my grandchild. All right, this video maybe like 50, 100 years later, people will look at this video. they know what happened to me, and then they know what happened in that age, those people, how they live, and then how they, deal with the things, right? So yeah, that's why I using my broken English. All right, be patient if I talk too slow, and then you can just adjust the speed to like 1.5 or even 2. All right, so yeah, let's start at today's topic. And then yeah, as I did the video before, I talk about how do I become a licensed mechanic. I spent about 4 years. Okay, so after I get the license, even before I got the, the mechanic, well, you can say license or certificate, you can work alone. And then I already don't like it because it's so dirty. You stay in the garage for whole, yeah, by the time we work 6 days a week, all right? And then, well, basically no future. All right, you look at those people, they've been working there for like 20, 30 years. They just like that. I don't like it. All right, on the other hand, you don't have an opportunity to see the world. Those driver, they do long distance driver, they go to the other city, they go out of province, they make more money, they see more, and then they experience more. I want to be a truck driver. All right, by the time truck driver, it's a pretty good good job. All right, so better income, better subsidy, and then you can buy some cheap stuff from the out of town, right? It's like it's a better job. All right, I want to see more. I want to experience more. I don't want to be a young boy, wear those uniform very dirty every day. Okay, that's why I talked to my parents, and then I said I want to be a truck driver. And then by the time to become a truck driver, you don't just like here, you go to driving school, you pay the fee, and then you get your license. No such things by the time in China. Now they have it, but not like 40 years ago. And then to become a truck driver, by the time, it's like become, you have to go through some professional training qualification. It's like firefighter training or policeman here. All right, you have to train about long time to get your driver's license. And then after you get your driver's license, you have a half a year, then they draw, you cannot drive alone in half a year. You have to drive with the experienced driver. All right, and then, here we call it the probation period. Yeah. And then almost to the end of the probation period, you have 2 new drivers drive together. You still cannot drive alone, because the company don't allow you to drive alone. And then the law, the regulation don't allow you to drive alone until after half a year you get your driver's license. And then you get the full license, then you can drive alone. Yeah, and then some of them, even they get a full license, the company they don't trust them. They don't, have a fully confident to let them drive alone. They still have to drive with the other driver. All right. Okay. So this is the regulation. So on the other hand, it's not cheap to train a person from zero to become a driver, can drive alone. and the company roughly has to pay like have to spend about 2,000 yuan, all right, RMB, to, that's how much money they need to spend. And then a person want to be a driver, I don't think they can afford it, because 2,000 yuan, it's an average people is like 4 or 5 years salary. Average people could not afford it, and you have to go through that kind of training. Okay, so that's that situation. All right, and then my parents work on that. They do something they should do, right? It's involve a lot of correction and deal things. And then I heard about that my company want to expanding. They want more young driver. Okay, and then I get into the training. Normally one training is about one truck. One truck is allow 8 to 10 people. They sit in back of the truck, and then there is one instructor, and then they teach this group of people. All right. So of course you have to go to the government. You have to pass the written test. The written test is already a big filter to filter a lot of people. You cannot have like a learner's permit. How difficult the written test is, it's about, you don't only know the traffic rules and some regulation. You have to know how to maintain the vehicle. And then there's not just multiple choice. You have to write the article, talk about what you should do. All right, there is not many multiple choice tests. Most of them you have to write down, what you should do. And then there is some knowledge about the vehicle, such as if the engine exhaust comes out, it's blue, what caused that? Or if the black smoke, what caused that? If it's white smoke, what caused that? If you don't have a strong knowledge about vehicle, about engine, for the average people, you have to have a lot of study to know how to answer this kind of like a question. It's a very I have a background. I already a licensed mechanic. There's no difficult for me to answer this question. For those people, they don't have this background. They have to read a lot of book and then take a lot of course. But by the time there's no such a course, you have to learn through the book, or you ask somebody, something like that. All right, it's very difficult for average people to pass the written test. Okay, once you've passed the written test, you have a learner's permit, and then you have to start the training. All right, I clearly remember we have 3 major parts to train a beginner. Okay, so the early 1 week. Okay, so first of all, this training is about 1.5 year, 6 months. All right, so the company will pay for you. All right, you get paid when you learn. All right, but and of course you have to work for the government, work for the company after you get the license. Right, that's the deal. All right, so yeah, and then the first at least 3 to 5 days, the wheel will not touch the ground. They use a jack to jack up the wheel is off the floor, and then those people, you have to go to the driver's seat behind the wheel to learn how to use a clutch, how to shift the gear from 1 to 5, and down gear from 5 to 1. And then it's a 8 to 10 people, right? You have to take turns. But for me, I have a mechanic background. It's easy for me, And then after 5 days, and then we have to go to some of the training field. The training field it's not on the road, right? It's a dirt road. It's like in the big size, like a half a football field. All right, there is some pole. All right, so I clearly remember, you just know they put the pole there, and then you just go figure 8. All right, you have to do left turn, right turn, and then you make sure you don't hit the pole. All right, so it's a very slow speed. It's like a gear 1 and gear 2. All right, so it's not even you upshift the gear or downshift gear. You just gear 1 or gear 2. All right, normally we because the truck is not loaded, and then you just you can start the truck with the gear 2, right? Because the gear 1 is it's only for you have a fully loaded truck. All right, then you gear 2, you can just do figure 8. All right, so when you're okay with the figure 8, then we go to some narrow, zigzag roll. All right, and then on the roll you have some gear involved. I'm shifted from gear 2 to gear 3. All right, so something like that. And then you're okay with the roll. Make sure you always can drive on the roll, and then you can start to hit the main roll. All right, for the main roll, as a driving school's vehicle, definitely you are not driving in the city. By the time, it's driving in the city, and then it's too complicated. And back to 40 years ago, and then the bicycle is a major transportation tools, or you can say vehicle. All right, mostly on the road, it's bike. All right, some car, you seldom see the car. Most of them, they're truck and a bus. All right, some weird 3-wheel bike, the motorbike, so that's the rule. Okay, so once you're okay with the basic maneuver, and then you go to the suburban area to do the on-road training. And by the time, I clearly remember, and then one day behind the wheel, each because I mentioned that the one group is 8 to 10 people, right? When one student driver behind the wheel, the instructor beside, the rest of them, they're sitting on the back, and then the window is very small, right? You have to, if you want to learn more things, and you have to, knee down on the window to imagine, the situation coming. You do downshift, upshift. All right. So how to use the brake, how to, when the instructor say, okay, see the tree, stop behind beside the tree, and then pull over and stop behind the tree. Yeah, that's what we do. Normally, and we drive out the city and go back to the city. It's already spent 2 hours, and then you have the lunch for 1 hour on the road. For the those beginner training driver to drive, it's not more than 10 minutes a day. Yeah, because you have to up and down. But anyway, so on the road, what are we gonna do? All right, this is the drive on the road. Okay, basically it's just so simple. You go there, adjust your seat, and then you start from gear 2, upshift, all the way from 2 to 3 to 4, and then all the way to 5. Because the maximum speed by the time, even the main road, it's a 50 kilometers. All right, so you could not drive faster than 50, right? So as a drive, the training truck, you have to go, like 40, 45. It's a maximum speed. All right, so you up gear, and then the instructor will ask you to downshift, right? Because that gear, it's very complicated. When you downshift gear, you have to use a double clutch. You have to push the accelerate it, and then make sure the engine speed and then the wheel speed, the gear is matched. Then you shift gear, the gear will not crash. All right, so this is a kind of a skill, and as a beginner, you take a long time to train. All right, so downshift, upshift, and then you pull over and stop, and then switch driver. That's what we do on the road. All right. So if the road is busy, basically you have a trouble. The truck is so big, and then it's not easy to drive. And then normally when the road become busy, and then the instructor will take over or ask some of the better student to drive. All right, so this is we drive on the road. And then back to the early day with training, there is a one thing and really need some skill and training, which is you stop the truck on the deep hill, and then you stop, you pull the handbrake, and then you shift the gear to 1 or 2, and then you have to make sure you start on the deep hill, you don't roll back. All right, if you roll back more than 10 centimeters, you fail. This is what they want you to do in the road test. And there is one thing before you hit the road, as far as I remember, it's very difficult for the average driver. All right, because they put the pole there. All right, you left turn, right turn, left turn, straight the truck, and go back. All right, it takes a lot of time to training. I remember we just do this forward, backward, and then this is the one, right? So you don't just drive forward with the left turn, right turn, right? You have to backward with the left turn, right turn without hitting the pole. You can get closer it, but you don't hit it. All right, so and then you have to know how to move the vehicle from spot 1 to the spot beside you. It takes a lot of the space is very limited. All right, there is one thing I should mention that, and the truck is big. It's we call it 4-ton truck. No power steering. Don't even think about it. All right, you have to do it. Turn the steering wheel when the vehicle is moving. If the vehicle is not moving, there is no way you can turn the steering wheel. So that means you need to be strong. All right, so it takes a lot of skill. All right, so after the on the road training, and then everybody downshift, upshift, no problem. You can shift the gear very smooth. Then we have we call it long distance driving training. So that means we don't go back to the city. We pack up your luggage, and then we go to somewhere away from the city, and then we have to stay there for a week, something like that. All right, so because over there, you have some uphill, downhill mountain, and you have to train there. And then some of the place, if it's you have that kind of like a privilege, you can load up the truck with some kind of rice or sand or wood something, and then we do the fully loaded on-road training. Okay, that's how the company train a beginner to become a driver. On the road tax, it's not like that. And you make appointment to the government, you go to the government. It's different. You call the government, ask them to come to your company. They come to your company because we have a group 8 to 10 people in the truck, right? That examiner will follow the truck and go to outside the city, and then we do the on-road road test, right? So yeah, that's on-road road test. Before you do the on-the-road road test, everybody it's already passed we call it now it's kind of like a setup. All right, it's like before you're on the road, you have to do everybody is already past the first part of the road test. You know how to stop and go on deep hill. You know how to drive the left turn, right turn, and back into the spot. You know how to switch, move the vehicle from spot 1 to spot 2 without hitting anything. All right, so yeah, this is part 1. Part 1 is easier, right? The examiner just come and they just sit there and watch what you do. They don't sit behind you, but on the road the examiner is sit behind you. All right, so the whole thing, from day 1 you pass the written test, you start the training, to about 4 or 5 months they already start the road test, because a lot of people will fail the road test. They have to train and go back to do the road test again. All right, so this whole thing will last about 6 months. Okay, after 6 months, everybody got your driver's license. We call it you have a privilege to drive beside another experienced driver. All right, so then the next part started. All right, so once you get the driver's license, and then the company appoints one of the driver to you. You have to follow the driver, right? In the morning, you clean the vehicle, you make sure you do what you should do, right? If you have a flat tire, this is the time you have to you step up and then to do your best. Yeah, this is and then you have to pack up your luggage, and then those truck mostly is for long distance driving, right? So you have to pack up your luggage, and then you stay outside. All right, and then there is a lot of things on the road you have to learn. First of all, you have to learn how to fill up your gas tank. It's kind of like the people don't believe it. There is no such things. We call it a gas station by the time. All right, when we go out to do long distance driving, you have a tank full of gas, right? There is another big bucket on the truck. All right, if the gas tank is empty, you have to get the pump the gasoline from the other tank to that normal tank. All right, this is something you need to learn. And then, of course, you have to always check the tire inflation if something's wrong, right? So, for example, the compressor is failed, then you have a spare one to change it. The driving bell is broken, you have to change the driving bell. That's a very something you do it daily. All right. So and then you have to deal how to do the paperwork, and another things that's very important back to that age, which is you have to remember the road. You remember where have you been going. There is no map, no telephone. Don't even mention GPS, okay? No telephone, no such things, all right? So if you have a trouble on the road, all right, so you just lock up your truck, hire people, look at your goods, or those things is on the truck. You have to you ask somebody to take you to the next the small town or something to ask for help. So this is something you need to learn on the road, right? So yeah, there's so much things, and then when you get to the destination, you upload and download the goods, right? And then you have to do the paperwork. You have to do the count. All right. Sometimes you have to collect the payment. Yeah, this is something you need to learn, and then you know where you stay, or where to eat. All right, because you can just imagine by the time you drive a vehicle in Africa, something like that, there's no help. There's no help when you when you have a trouble on the road. All right, so you have to learn how to deal with it. All right, so at the beginning, and then the good condition road, and then the experienced driver will let you to drive something straight and wide, not that complicated. When the road condition become bad, for example, it's a mountain, you have to go through the city, and then the original driver, experienced driver, they will take it over, don't let you to drive, and then they drive, and you just observe, and then you learn it. All right, so if you normally, when you drive out of a city, it's fully loaded. When you come back, it might not fully loaded. It's not that fully loaded, maybe half loaded. And then they will let you drive more because it's heavy loaded. As I mentioned before, that vehicle, it's very low at power. It's only 90 something horsepower, and then you have to move the vehicle. It weighted about 4 tons, and then the load it's about 4 tons. It's 8 tons. 8-ton vehicle. It's only powered by an engine. It's only like a 95, maximum 95. If you adjust the carburetor, you want to save some gas, it's not even 95, maybe 80 something. So it needs a lot of skill. All right, so yeah. And as far as I remember on the road, the maximum speed for the truck is 50 kilometers per hour. Not mile, right? So remember, not mile, 50 kilometers per mile. If it's a smaller vehicle, and then you can go up to 60. All right, so I clearly remember when I drive alone, after that, I get a ticket. I drive import Mitsubishi better truck. I drive a 73 kilometer. I get a first ticket in my life, right? So 73, it's 23 over the speed limit, right? So yeah, that's how average person you want to get the driver's license in China back to 40 years ago. Okay, I am a pretty ahead of the average people because I have 4 years mechanics background. I was young by the time I was 21 years old, and then yeah, I'm at the top 3 best driver in that group. I have no trouble to pass all the tests. I have had no trouble to follow my experienced driver. They, very soon I can drive alone. And then, well, maybe I will spend another episode to talk about how I drive alone in China. All right, so yeah, so much for today. Bye-bye. You want to say goodbye to everybody? Say goodbye. He's always sleeping outside. Bye-bye. Say goodbye. All right, goodbye everybody. See you next time.